Right, welcome to this screencast where we are going to talk about the cache inside the CPU. In this pyramid, I know it's a bit blurry here, but go into the description of the video, there'll be the link to it. At the very bottom, we've got all the input devices. And we know that a keyboard is going to be a lot slower at sending data to the CPU than the storage device. The storage device, what we mean by that, when you switch off a computer, they don't forget whatever it is you've stored in there. But that property also makes them slower than the RAM. But the RAM, when you switch off a computer, it all goes. If you forgot to save the Word document you was working on, you all know that it's gone if you didn't save it from the RAM into the storage device. Faster than the RAM, but smaller, is what we are talking in this, the cache. And then we have got the fastest ones that store something or the registers. This is where the cache is, somewhere between the CPU and the RAM. But there are two different types of cache. L1 cache for level 1 and L2 cache, level 2. Now, what do you remember? What are the way to define, to explain the difference between L1 and L2 cache? Come on. L1 cache, what can you tell me about it? Please.
It's smaller and it's closer to the CPU.
So it's smaller and it's closer. Now, over there, I choose this diagram because it shows you that L1 cache is with each core. So a multi-core CPU, its L1 cache will be with each core. You can't go any closer than that. So if each L1 cache is with the core, what does that say about the L2 cache? Where is it going to be? Further away. So where can it be further away than the core? There's two possibilities for that, depending on which type of processor. Go on. So it could be, I'm going to put it on this side, it could be between the CPU and the RAM. So that's one possibility. That could be my L2 cache, and it would be out of a CPU, out of a chip itself, but between the CPU and the memory. So that would be our data bus, would be what the bus we're seeing over here. That's one possibility. What other possibility have we got? In the case of a multi-core processor, we know the L1 cache or with each core. Where could the L2 cache be? If it's not outside of the CPU, it's inside, but where?
Is it just like a memory bank?
Memory bank, maybe. You could say it's here, but instead of being with each core, it would be the word I'm looking for.
Shared.
Shared, correct. So it would be shared between all the other core. What kind of what is being stored inside this cache? Data or? And how do you decide which ones?
Most recent.
The ones that are used the most often for whatever the CPU is doing at this moment in time. Yes. So that would go into the L1 cache, and then in the L2 cache, which is a little bit bigger, but because it's a little bit further away, it's going to be slower. You are going to put some other data, which is not used as often, but there would still be some form of advantage compared to leaving it in the RAM. What kind of advantage? What are we trying to achieve using cache?
Faster.
Faster. We're trying to make this whole CPU work faster. Right. Thank you very much for this. I look forward to seeing your answers into our exercise.
Be sure to like and subscribe.